everybody, and welcome to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips, and I will be your host for the next hour. And tonight's theme is going to be about energy shifts and earth changes, and how changes on the planet impact you and cause shifts within you. So I don't know about you, listeners, but how have you been the last week? Have you been feeling particularly stressed out, or have you been feeling calm? Because I must say, I've been feeling a little bit stressed out, and I've noticed a lot of other people around me are too. And, you know, so has the planet. So if you think back about your life, you've probably noticed by now, if you've lived a few years on this planet, that if there's one thing that you can guarantee is that things will always change. Things are always changing. And your life, if you look back on your life and the things that have happened to you during your life, you'll notice that you've been through a series of cycles of growth and change. You know, whether it's the changes of the human body that go from infancy to teenage to adult and so on, or whether it's other different phases in your life, like you're in the education system, or you're starting a career, or you're starting a family, or you're starting a marriage, or you're interested in being more active and you're engaged in sports, or you're spending more time sleeping and meditating, or whatever it is. If you really think about it, you'll see that everything in your life occurs as a cycle of growth and change. And the same thing is true if you look at this beautiful big blue green planet that you're living on called Earth. And some of the cycles are obvious because we have day and we have night, and we have spring, summer, fall and winter. There are some natural cycles that just rotate around that always happen. But there's also some longer term cycles that happen on this planet. And actually, I might add that this planet, just like you, goes through different stages of infancy, being a teenager and being an adult. And our planet right now is kind of like an antsy teenager. So planet Earth also goes through cycles of growth and change. Now, whereas your life cycle lasts approximately 80 to 100 years or so, obviously the planet's life cycle is a much longer thing, and we're talking in terms of tens of thousands of years for some cycles, and millions of years, if not billions of years, for other cycles that it goes through. Now, I'm sure some of you are familiar with all of the stuff that was being talked about around 2012 and beyond, which says that we're in a period on this planet of massive transformation, where the energy frequency on this planet is rising exponentially, and it is a time of massive and swift change and growth and transformation. And in my opinion, that's completely true. And if you think about it, if you're living on this planet at this time, you're surrounded in the energy of this world. You can't escape it. Unless you're an astronaut and you go on a trip to the moon or Mars, you're here. You are swimming in the energy of the Earth. And therefore, whatever changes she is going through, she will sweep you along with her. And so that's why so many people on the planet right now are going through massive growth, massive change, and massive transformation. Now, this week in particular has been really big as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not an astrologer. But I'm sure if we had an astrologer on the show, they would probably be able to point out certain planetary aspects that have been going on at the moment. I know that it's Mercury retrograde, but I think there's been a few other things going on too. But what piqued my interest this week is somebody sent, well, a couple of things. I've been having some sleepless nights, and usually when I have sleepless nights, that's a clue that there's some earth changes going on. And then somebody sent me an email saying, you know, at this time of great change, when there's all of these enormous number of earthquakes and volcanic eruptions and so on going on. And I thought, really, is there? Well, that doesn't surprise me. I've been kind of feeling like there is. But I went to one of my favorite websites, and if you're interested in following the earthquakes and the shifts on the planet, go to this website. It's called IRIS, and the website is ds.iris, iris.edu, and it has an image where you can see all the earthquakes for the last 5 years, but you can also just see the earthquakes that have happened today, the earthquakes that happened yesterday, the earthquakes that have happened in the last 2 weeks. And it's all displayed on the map of a globe by these different coloured circles. And they show how powerful of an earthquake it was by the size of the circle. So if you go and take a look at that website, you'll be kind of amazed, because there's a massive number of earthquakes over the last 2 weeks, and most of them around that Pacific Rim area, and especially in the Pacific Islands, so the Solomon Islands and the I guess, would it be Tonga? I'm trying to get it to show me the names of these places where these earthquakes have been happening. Tonga Islands, and south of the Tonga Islands, and some other islands all around New Zealand, all around Japan, and all around that Pacific Rim area on the northeast coast off of Australia, and then all the way down the west side of Central and South America. And then we've also got some activity going on higher up in Taiwan, and even let me see, that's all still the Sea of Japan and the Kuril Islands, so some more northern areas as well. There's even been an earthquake in the UK and quite a few in Greece, and so go take a look at this website. It's kind of interesting, and I do think that there's been elevated activity in the last little while. So why am I talking about this? Well, it's back to my point. You are bathing in the energy of this world. And earthquakes and volcanoes and things like that, they're kind of like growing pains for the planet. And they are times of massive change energetically, when we're having a lot of volcanic activity and when we're having a lot of earthquakes. And so being on the planet when that's happening, it actually will launch you also into a time of massive change energetically. And it's also a time when you will find that you need to be more grounded than you usually are, just to stay sane. And that's, again, back to the beginning of this little diatribe that I'm doing tonight. Have you been feeling really stressed the last week? Because if you have, then it could be down to, well, I would say that it probably is down to all of these changes and shifts in frequency that are going on the planet. And the number one tip I can give you to cope with that shift and change is ground. As the shifts happen, as the earth changes happen, as the frequency goes up, if you can ground, it will really help you to, in inverted commas, weather the storm. And so For those of you who have listened before, you're probably familiar with this technique that I call grounding. But if you're listening for the first time, then I'm going to talk you through it for the first time for you guys. So anyone who's heard this before, indulge me, because it doesn't do any harm to learn this again and again and again, because believe me, if you only learn one meditation technique your entire life and you learn how to ground, you're in good shape, because it can really put you in charge of your life and help you cope with anything that's going on that is massive shifts and changes. So what you need to do in order to ground, well, you can always take some nice deep breaths in and out, and just that deep breathing is going to bring you into your body and bring you into the here and the now. And then if you tune into an energy center that exists near the base of your spine. To some of you in the know, you'll recognize that that's an energy center called your first chakra, and it contains your information on physical reality. It contains your information on how to survive on planet Earth. And so, tune in to that energy center. Tune in to all of your survival information, and also create a flow of energy that goes from that energy center all the way to the center of the earth. And if you're not driving, why not do this now? Because it literally will happen effortlessly. All you need to do is visualize yourself doing this, or know that you are doing this, and it will happen. That energy will flow effortlessly through the chair that you are sitting in, through the floor of the room, through the layers of the building that you're in, and through all the layers of planet Earth. And just create that flow until it reaches the center of the earth, and then anchor it securely at the energy center near the base of your spine and at the center of the planet. And you might notice a difference. You might feel more present. You might even feel safer. And what you can do if things start to feel stressful or out of control is you can increase the flow of energy down this grounding cord, and you can send whatever it is that you are feeling stressed about, whatever it is that you are struggling with, down your grounding cord. And if you're doing this together with me now, you might start to notice a difference. I know I'm noticing a difference. I'm definitely feeling more present, more here, and more relaxed, and more in control, and safer, and less like things are crazy. Because things have been feeling a little bit crazy to me the last week. And I'm sure that's the same for some of you. So learn how to ground. Do yourself a favor, learn how to ground. So that's the theme of today's show: how to cope with stress, how to cope with change, and how every human being on the surface of this planet right now is going through a time of massive change that can be experienced as stressful if you allow it to, or you can get through it with more ease and more grace. And one of the ways or the tools that you can use to do that is this tool called grounding, which you can do when you're meditating, but you can kind of do it all the time when you're walking around, when you're interacting with other people, and so on. I'm going to go to a break. After the break, we're taking your calls.
Question time.
Everybody, and welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips, and this show is all about you, and it's about me answering your questions live on air. Especially this week has been a time of stress and a time of change for a lot of people. And so how is that showing itself in your life? You know, are some of the aspects of your life feeling a bit rocky? Whether it's your relationships, your career, your finances, your health, or you're just going through massive changes. We're taking your calls right now. And Corey is in the studio, ready to pick up the phone and take your calls and put you through to me.
Hello, Dr. Lesley.
Hello.
I don't have a call for you, but I do have a question.
Yes.
But I don't know if it's the right question. I'm all stressed out about it.
Well,
Anyway,
you must need to
comes from
ground a bit
Caitlin.
more.
And Caitlin asks, my life has been in turmoil this year. What should my next step be?
Well, that's a very simple question, isn't it? And you know, I could make a very simple answer and say, get grounded. But I'm sure Caitlin's looking for a bit more information than that. So let me tune in and have a look at why your life has been in turmoil this year, Caitlin, and what can you do as your next step. And for those who are listening for the first time, the way I do this is I go into a very light trance, and then I'm able to access my intuitive abilities in a more focused manner, and I can tune into Caitlin or anyone else's energy for that matter very easily. So I'm taking a look at Caitlin and taking a look at what is going on. Well, it's interesting. So I'm seeing the very first thing I said is true. I am seeing that you're not very grounded, Caitlin. But there's something else that going on as well. So give me a moment and I'll take a look at what that is, what's going on. And forgive me if I go a bit silent, listeners, because this one is just going to take me a minute to look at her energy, because it's kind of unusual. Because when I look at your energy, Caitlin, I actually feel like I'm looking at a volcano, funnily enough, just like the theme of tonight's show a little bit. And so I'm seeing that in your life, you are going through massive change. And when we go through massive change, we often think, well, there's something wrong with this. What's wrong with this? We expect that our lives are going to be on an even keel the whole time. But if you were listening to the beginning of the show, you might have a clue that actually that's not normal at all. That while you're alive in a physical body on this earth, if there's one thing that you can be guaranteed will happen, is that things will change all the time. Things never stay the same. Things are always changing. And on a spiritual level, that's how we grow, that's how we expand. And I'm seeing you, like many other people who have incarnated on the planet at this time, kind of thought, well, this is going to be the ride of all my lifetimes, because there's an opportunity for massive change, massive transformation, and massive expansion. So you kind of came here wanting the expansion, and now you're in it. You're in this expansion, and it's hard to have that spiritual perspective when you're in the middle of it. And so there's still this piece that I'm trying to look at that I want to tell you about. And in fact, I think what I'm going to do, Caitlin, is I'm going to give you a little bit of healing. I'm going to help you to ground. So I'm going to do some help Caitlin to ground. And then maybe I'll see a bit more about what's going on with our energy. So I'm just doing that now. And so then, as soon as I do that, what I see happen is your body goes, thank you. Because it's like you, the spiritual being, was like, yes, I want all this growth and I want all this change. And you forgot to tell your body. You forgot to read your body in on the plan. And so your body has just been panicking, running around, trying to control, trying to take care of things, feeling like it's on quicksand. And if only you'd talked to it and said, hey, don't worry, things are going to be changing quickly, but I'm here, I'm in charge, and I'm going to be consciously awake and aware and driving this show. Okay, you didn't do that. You kind of made all the changes and forgot to ground and forgot to be in your body and forgot to talk to your body. And so that's the thing. There's a disjoint between you, the spiritual being, and your physical body. They're not working together right now. And it's really crucial in times of massive change, if you want to stay sane and feel okay, that you do talk to your body. And so I hope that has explained what's going on in your life. Thank you for the question, because you are not alone. Like I said, we are all in this time of massive change together. And so I am sure that a lot of other listeners strongly identified with your question and with the answer that I gave. Let's see if Corey has another question for us. Hello.
Hello, Dr. Lesley. I have another question for you.
Great.
And the question is from Nellie. And it's a bit of a stress-related question as well. What consistent focus do I need to keep in mind to attain the personal success that I seek?
Thank you. Okay, what consistent focus do I need to keep in mind to achieve the personal success that I seek? Okay, so I want to tell you to ground as well, Nellie, but I'm going to just do what I did for the previous caller, go into a very light trance and tune in to your energy. So, similar, but not exactly the same. I'm seeing that you have some big dreams for yourself. And when I say big dreams, I mean like your plan for your life. There's a lot that you're wanting to accomplish. There's a lot that you're wanting to fit in. And that there is some influence that you are wanting to have in the world. And then I'm also seeing that you're not managing to get but a fraction of those dreams into your body and manifested into physical reality at the moment. So you're intending that they will, but you're not allowing that to happen. And the first thing that I'm going to say will help you is to get grounded, because when you ground, it makes it safe for all of that energy around those dreams and those desires and those creations to flow through you into the physical plane. Otherwise, it just feels like a balloon, a hot air balloon that's floating around above you. But if you ground, it's almost like you start to pull the air from that balloon through you and into the world. So I'm seeing that grounding will also help you. And, the question, what do I need to focus on? I want to say, believe in yourself. Because one of the things that I'm seeing that you're doing, because you do have such massive aspirations, is that you're looking at it all as one big thing and then going, I want it, but it can't be possible. I want it, but I don't know how I can make it happen. And again, it's this body-spirit thing that I was talking about with the last person. As spirit, you create instantly and you create outside of time and space. So, but when you are incarnated in the physical world, in a physical body, you're dealing with time and space. And you can't fit everything all at once into this sort of time-space continuum that you're in. So you kind of have to choose a few things or one thing at a time and take it in bite-sized pieces. And so I'm just seeing it's a matter of flow for you. It's like if you get grounded, that will get the energy flowing. And if you pick off a piece at a time that is handleable, then that will also get the energy flowing. And what should you focus on? Believing in yourself and believing that you can do it, because you can do it, and we never have a strong desire for something if it's not possible for us to attain that and to have that. So Nellie, I hope that that has helped you. I'm going to move on to the next caller or question, and then we'll take a break, and after the break we'll take some more calls. So let's see if Corey has another one for us.
Hello, Dr. Lesley.
Hi.
I have another question for you.
Yes?
And that question is, what do you see me doing to make money right now where I do not have to work for someone else? And that question's from Nolene.
Okay. All right, I'll take a look at that. So what can she do right now to make money that means she doesn't where she doesn't have to work for somebody else? Okay. So once again, I'm going to tune into Nolene's energy just by going into a very light trance. Well, the first thing I want to say is you've got it going on, girl. Your energy looks so bright and so just full of possibilities. And, you know, I can see, it seems to me that the time is right for you to do that. It's like you're on the verge of having that happen for you and creating that for yourself. And I can see you have so much power and so much capability. I can see it being difficult for that to be contained under someone else's umbrella, you know. And I'm seeing that, you know, you've encountered in the work that you've done thus far people who appear to be less capable than you and have less energy and have less power than you. And they're all trying to sort of shrink you into a box that matches their vibration and where they feel comfortable. And it's just, it can't be done. You have so much power. And if you do try to force yourself to fit into their box, you feel dreadful, because you're lowering your vibration and you're restricting yourself and you're limiting yourself. So, first thing, I just want to validate that this totally looks like the right decision for you. And, like, what can you do to make money now? I'd love to have you on the end of the phone. Listeners, this is why it's so great if you call in, because if you call in and I need a bit more information and a bit more details about you, I can ask you. Because what I'd want to ask Nolene right now is what she does for a living, you know, what she does for a living and what she's passionate about. Otherwise, it's a little bit like looking at a needle in a haystack. The more information that you can give an intuitive, the better, because the more detailed information you will get back. Anyway, that said, let me just see if I can have a look at what would be a good place to focus all of this power. So it feels like a couple of things. There might be an aspect of leadership. I was going to say teaching, but I think leadership is a better word. And it's almost leadership by example. So it's like whatever it is that you do, that you're very capable at, it's almost like you would be able to, in doing it yourself, be an example to others and show others and have others, instead of in the past where you've been trying to fit yourself into someone else's box and it's been uncomfortable, it's like the opposite happening now. It's you being an example and inviting other people to match your energy. And inviting other people that can match your energy to come and join you. So it's almost like creating your own, and again, this is not quite the right, your own retinue, your own band of followers, your own group of people who are aligned, who are in alignment with you and capable of matching that level of enthusiasm and that level of power. And what kinds of things do I see you being good at? Let me take a look. Well, there's definitely a piece that has to do with knowledge and delivering knowledge. So, I mean, maybe teaching or leading in some way. And then I'm also seeing something very practical. And oddly enough, something that just popped onto my screen was children. So I don't know if you work with children or babies or little ones in some way, but of course they're capable of matching super high vibrations because they're pretty much straight from spirit and they haven't been dampened down by life's experiences yet. So I've not been able to give you really super detailed answer to that, what can you do to make money? But, maybe you can take what I've said and think about what you're passionate about and what expertise and experience you've had so far. Actually, by the way, one other thing that was coming up is that there's some aspect of you that's quite a capable healer in some way. So I don't know, if nursing or looking after kids in some way, all of that ties together for you, that would make what I'm seeing make sense. But otherwise, just take those little hints and see how it configures against your life. So I'm going to go to a break. After the break, I'll be taking more calls. You've been listening to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips. Hello everyone and welcome back to Unlocking Your Truth with Dr. Lesley. My name is Dr. Lesley Phillips and you are listening to Unlocking Your Truth. I just said that, didn't I? But it is a show all about metaphysics, spirituality, anything mystical, supernatural, paranormal, and the intuitive. Hi, Corey.
I have a great question for you, Dr. Lesley. And the question is from Sal. Yeah, that's it, Sal. And Sal asks, I own a business and I'm really struggling financially. My husband has health issues and isn't contributing. So there's no question there, but I think you can read between the lines. I'll repeat it for you one more time. I own a business and I'm really struggling financially. My husband has health issues and isn't contributing. I'll leave that with you.
All right, thank you. So there's some stresses, isn't it? She's struggling financially and her husband isn't well. So that's a lot of pressure, Sal, that you're dealing with. So, as always, let me just, before I give you an answer to what's going on and maybe some useful information that might help, I need to do my thing and go into my little self-induced trance and then look at your energy. So bear with me while I do that. Okay, let's take a look. Well, the first thing that I'm tuning into is you. I do see your pain. I do see your pain, and I do see, I guess, what I would describe as some depression. And it almost feels as though it's almost like you've given up, or you've stopped to believe that anything can happen to make things different. But remember, if you've been listening to the earlier part of the show, there's one thing that you can always be certain of, and that is that things will change. Now, I'm going to give you a healing, Sal. I'm going to start with that. I'm going to give you a healing. I'm going to help you to ground, and I'm going to help you to release and let go of some of this pain and depression down your grounding. And then when I've done that, we'll see what we're left with to work with. So as I'm clearing this energy, I'm actually seeing that some of the energy in your space that's making you feel this way isn't your energy, it's your husband's energy. So I'm seeing, just because your husband is so unwell, he's feeling lost, he's feeling needy, he's feeling depressed, and he's having a difficult time, and he's putting that on you. So the first thing is to make separations from your husband. And what I mean by that, I don't mean divorce him and separate from him. What I mean is find a way so that you're not sharing so much of his energy. And here's my soapbox again. If you ground, you can release your husband's energy down your grounding. Because the problem is, while his energy is in your space, you're dealing with his energy as well as your own energy. And you're feeling his feelings as well as your own feelings. And you're feeling his hopelessness, and you're feeling his depression, and you're feeling his pain, and you're thinking that it's your own, and you're feeling even more stuck. So, as soon as I start to move his energy off you, you start to brighten up. Things start to feel possible again. You start to look like you feel a bit more in control and a bit more in charge. Now, so that's the first thing, is grounding, making separations from your husband energetically. And then the other tip that I'm going to give you, Sal, is, and a lot of people do this, and I'll try and find some layman's words it's hard to say this in layman's words, but often what people will do when they're in a difficult situation is they will sort of energetically open up because they're asking for help. Not believing that the help is inside them, feeling like they don't know what to do and the help must have to come from somewhere outside of them. And what that does, what that opening up energetically does, is it's sort of like opening the doors wide open and a crowd can rush in. And so then you're dealing not only with your energy and your husband's energy, you're dealing with all sorts of other energies, other people who have opinions on what you should do, or even other beings. And so I'm seeing the other key for you is to realize that you do have your own answers. You do have your own information. It comes actually through narrowing your focus so that you are tuning in and connecting to your own higher self and your God or your source, whatever word you prefer to call that. And so I'm going to actually give you a hand at the other end now. So it's grounding you from that energy center near the base of your spine. There's an energy center on the top of your head that I'm seeing with you is wide open. And that's how you connect with your higher wisdom. And if it's wide open, you're connecting with much more information than is necessary just for just you. So and I'm seeing that there's a block there for you, Sal. There's a block because that's interesting. It's like you don't want to know the truth because you are afraid of what the truth is. And I'm seeing that one of the things that you are... Well, I'm seeing you're very worried about your husband. And you're very worried about what's going to happen with him and what's going to happen with his illness. And it's almost like you're sort of like, well, if the worst is going to happen, I don't want to know. And so there's a lot of fear with you connecting to your truth and your higher knowledge. And there's also some pastime energy on that fear. So it looks like if we were to go back into your past and your childhood, I think we would find that you might be someone who has been punished or shut down when you knew. When you knew and acted on and spoke about your information and your truth when you were a child, looks like that wasn't encouraged. That what was encouraged was that you let the adults be in charge, that you let somebody else be the one with the power, that you let somebody else tell you what to do, and shut your own knowing and power down. And I'm actually seeing that dynamic plays into the relationship with your husband, because it looks like earlier in the relationship, before he got ill, you were playing out that dynamic with him. And you were letting him kind of be the one with the power that made the decisions and all of that, because that was your comfort zone. That was the way the program was set up when you were a child. And now that he's ill, it's kind of a growth opportunity for you to break out of that programming, because now it's down to you. It is down to you to take charge, to make decisions about things. And so you are in a massive growth period, Sal, and there is a lot going on here. And the healing is really, it's about you letting go of the past, letting go of behavioral programming that you learned in the past, letting go of ways in which you give your power away, ways in which you are afraid to know your information. And I want to. So we've talked about your husband, but I don't think I've completely covered adequately this question about the financial struggle. So let me just check in with that part of the question. Well, you're blocking the flow, and it just seems to me once you unblock that flow, once you start believing in yourself and your own abilities and your own power and your own knowledge and your own ability to make decisions, it just looks that unblocks the financial flow as well. It's sort of like... I'll draw a picture or an analogy just to help describe what's going on. It's like you would be a little girl whose daddy got sick and daddy couldn't go to work anymore. Except you're not a little girl and it's not your daddy that's sick. And so, it's... The financial struggle is coming from the program of not believing it's safe to make your own decisions and access your own information. All right. So I think that's probably going to be it for today's show. I'm not too sure that we've got enough time for another question. But we'll be back next week from 7 to 8, next Tuesday. And we'll be taking your questions. I'm not sure what the theme is going to be next week. I'd love your suggestions. Feel free to write to me at info@drlesleyphillips.com, info@drlesleyphillips. I would welcome your suggestions. There's so many subjects to choose from, but I'd love to choose one that you all want to hear about. So do write to me, and do email in your questions. And you don't need to wait until Tuesday night to email them in. We take questions, we collect the questions through the week, so you can ask them at info@drlesleyphillips.com. And in fact, if you go to drlesleyphillips.com, you'll see on the right-hand side that there's a little button that you can press to get your free reading, and that will allow that question to be submitted to the radio show as well.